Hello there, everybody. This is King Mac, your friendly hamburger pal. Welcome to this feature presentation on YouTube. Be sure to enjoy a hot, fresh cheeseburger along with some delicious golden French fries, a tasty milkshake, and a nice soft drink. Thank you all for watching, and now sit back and relax and enjoy as Tony here brings you our feature presentation of TTBurger game reviews.
Just tell me what you want, what you need, what you see, what you wanna be. Tell me everything, think it into being. That's how dreams become.
Boo, boo, boo! Boo! You scared? Well, if you were, hey, I got you. But if not, I'll get you next time. Welcome back, everybody. You were watching TTBurger Game Reviews here on YouTube, and I'm your host, Tony. As we're continuing all month long with horror-themed, Halloween-themed games here on my channel here, as we continue that with episode 252, part 2 of 3, which we talk about the Dead Space series review, and we're landing in the second part here. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to Fragrant HD and Sub-Zero MNX for King Mac, along with Type Lamnia, Bricklesville Stateside, Black Healer, and Meg, along with the homie RJ, the Uncle Jiva, the Sensational Gent, Rockstar Pool 1669, and Red Pool Pool Assassin, and more. And before we get started here, let's check in with our old Jack-o'-lantern friend all the way from Seattle, Washington, TTBurger. Hey Jack, what's going on, bro? How you doing over there? Everything okay?
Hey Tony, yeah, just guarding my land so the pumpkins get stolen.
Glad to hear it. Keep them well guarded. You ready for some more Dead Space action?
You bet, Tony. Bring us the sequel, Dead Space 2.
You got it, Jack, but first, a TTBurger recap, show you all what you missed episode 252, part 1 of 3. Let's take a look at Dead Space with the PlayStation 3, and I gave it a 9 out of 10 because it was a fantastic game, but there were some problems with the difficulty and stuff, and some of the rooms looked very similar to one another and such and everything. But overall, it was a fantastic game that should not be overlooked.
Sweet. Now that your recap has ended, let's get to the game already.
You got it, Jack. Now we're going to zoom ahead to the year 2011, back when I was a senior in college, almost getting ready to graduate. As we got the game right here, this is Dead Space 2, the limited edition for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC, released on January 25th, 2011. The limited edition has the Wii exclusive Dead Space Extraction stuff, which is an on-rail shooter, but I'm not really going to be looking at that game because, you know, the Dead Space is really pretty much the original Dead Space. I just didn't really care for it. But let's get started here. Dead Space 2 is a fun game here. Overall, we have a great sequel. Just the first game was a little bit better, but still a fun game overall. I was really impressed with the way the sequel turned out. While it's not as good, stuff like the first game was better, it still holds up really well. Because usually sometimes sequels are not the best and stuff, but still, it works well for its most part. Once again, we play as the engineer from the USG Kellyan, Isaac Clarke, who for the first game has been suffering hallucinations after what happened to him on the USG Ishimura, and find out his lover Nicole Brennan was dead the whole time, and was betrayed by Kendra Daniels and found the red marker and destroyed it, ending the incident on Aegis 7. After that, Isaac was taken to an asylum called the Sprawl, a space station built with the remainder of Saturn's moon called the Titan, and was suffering hallucinations of Nicole and other things caused by the marker, and was tortured. Isaac must escape. The necromorphs have infiltrated the Sprawl and learns of a new marker that was built, and Isaac is mad and furious, just wants to get the fuck out of Dodge and end this madness. Isaac is joined by some new characters this time, as Ellie Langford, a machinery pilot, along with Hans Tiedemann, the Sprawl administrative director, and Nolan Strauss, a mental patient who's trying to tell Isaac and warn them about the martyr and his memory loss and stuff. The story is deep, and I enjoy it, but I will admit it comes off as somewhat generic at times due to the setting of the story, like the first one when you're on the USG Ishimura, which is like a derelict spaceship and everything like that, like a spacecraft. And most of the story takes place on that, but in this you take it on a space station and some lab and other things more. And while they're cool looking, you've seen places like this in other horror-themed games and stuff. And also, there are some really unlikable characters in the story here that just really are not likable at all. But the characters that are good make up for it, especially since Isaac Clarke now has a voice this time and stuff, and talks a lot. The presentation of Dead Space 2, excellent graphics to take advantage of the PlayStation 3's hardware. I should mention that like the PS3 version here is on one disc because it's a Blu-ray disc and stuff, but the 360 version is on two discs because of all the content to it and stuff. And I just wanted to point that out there. The character models look extremely detailed and they look like real people, especially Isaac and Ellie. They look the best. Hell, Isaac's face is shown more to match with him having dialogue and looks great too. Isaac's suit looks just as detailed and great as it did last time. The Necromorphs look badass once again and creepy look. The blood and gore weapon effects are still here too, making it awesome. The environments I mentioned already look a little generic at times, but they can be overlooked due to how intense the game is and how it plays and such. The game is still once again told via over-the-shoulder view, where you're not taken out of the game for a cutscene or anything like that. And it's also told through via audio logs, voice logs, and video logs, and stuff and more. And there are a lot less loading times in this game. Sure, the game loads when you are about to step into an elevator or on a tram or something like that and stuff like the game loads while you're in that stuff to hide the load time stuff, which is kind of similar to what Tony's Project 8 did. And when you die, the game loads stuff, but still the game does not load when you get to a new chapter. That just keeps going and going. The frame rate is smooth aside from a couple of minor slowdowns, but it's nothing major to complain about. The sound is excellent sound. There's not much music here once again, but that is okay. The voice setting is top notch, especially Gunnar Nelson, the voices of Isaac Clarke, along with Ty Clarke, Listener voices Nicole and Sonia Henry voices Ellie Langford, and more. There are some actors that sound a little too over the top and hammy, but it's nothing bad or so. The weapon sounds and more are awesome, just awesome sound overall. Definitely still has a horror feel to it, definitely. The gameplay, fun for sure, but some problems here that make the first game better, even though there are some improvements here, some issues arise here and stuff. I already mentioned there are less load times and stuff here than last time and such, and while we talk about the goods here first. Dead Space 2 definitely has that horror feel to it, where you're trying to escape and get your memory back and just destroy the new red marker. You have an arsenal of weapons ranging from many new and old weapons, stuff like that, like the Ripper, which was like the Saw, and stuff like that, and the Pulse Rifle and stuff like that, and more, and just like I got tons of new weapons in your arsenal. Your rig suit is here, and sometimes Isaac will show his face to that. You can upgrade your rig at the bench by like adding the notes to improve your health and more. The difficulty has been worked on quite a bit, and there are still some cheap deaths here, but still has improved overall. The stasis and cases are here and work well. Your waypoints are here once again by pressing in the VR3 analog stick, and now to show you where you go for your objective, but also shows you the nearest save point, the nearest shop, and workbench, and where you'll have to not worry about trying to find the last save point by looking at the map the whole time and stuff like that when you're low on health or so. And that's pretty cool and nice to have there. The zero gravity part here once again, instead it's like aiming and pressing the RB, pressing like the triangle button or so to hop down to the next part. You can just float and just fly over like that. It's very cool. And it has some scary moments here too. Just had like a lot of upgrades, a lot of credits at that. And there's some puzzles here that you must solve with your kinesis and stasis and more and stuff like that, which adds to the fact that there's also some puzzles where you have to like shoot the switch on top of a door to get it to stop moving before it sucks you into the gravity of space and stuff like that and killing you. And it just very fun indeed. Fun sequel, but now the negatives here, which will give it a lower score. Dead Space 2 is shorter than its predecessor, ranging at about 5 or 6 hours. And like, if you know what to do, you can just breeze through the game. The game, while it has scary and horror elements like that, sometimes feels a little too action-like in certain parts. And there are some very unlikable characters in the story, like I mentioned, and for some reason the buttons have been, the controls have been swapped for unknown reasons. Like this time square is like your reload button, and triangles like pace time and stuff like that. It's just weird that they swapped for unknown reason, and some of the environments look generic, but still a fun game overall. Final thoughts: if you enjoyed the first Dead Space 2 should not disappoint you at all. I give it an 8 out of 10 because of the problems I have, but still a game that should not be overlooked. And Jack, are you still there with us? So what did you think of Dead Space 2?
Hey Tony, I am still here. Yeah, Dead Space 2 is fun, but I agree with you. When you say it feels action, like at times it's not as scary.
Yeah, true, but at least I can call it a good sequel for sure.
That's right, Tony. So what is on the agenda for the next part? The final part of a Dead Space review.
Glad you brought that up, Jack. Episode 252, part 3 of 3 is the grand finale of the Dead Space series review here. Take a look at Dead Space 3, released once again by Electronic Arts and Redwood Studios. How does it hold up? Well, you have to find out in the next part.
Cool. I like surprise, Tony. and I am sure the others do too. So see it for the final part, Tony. Must return to my pumpkin patch. Take care, Tony.
You got it, Jack. Well, that's wraps up part 2 of 3 of episode 252 of my Dead Space series review. Stay tuned for the final part, everyone. If you take a look at Dead Space 3 for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and the PC. Hope you all enjoy, everybody. Take care. This is Tony. Peace out. Have a great day, and stay tuned. There's more along the way.
I don't need cash or cars, I need black guitars, I need plaques for art, yeah. I need shooting stars and a few